When it comes down to doing the work, we're seasoned professionals and we all rise to the occasion, but in between, I mean, what an amazing, fun job this is. And we spend 50% of the day laughing our asses off, you know, just having a great time. It's just...
But just talking about how almost I had to remind myself to kind of just knock it off a bit, like not be so like.
I agree with that.
Because you don't want to make it too campy or too funny, and you have to be serious about it, but yet going towards the funny side is what makes it so attainable for, like, you know, everyone to play.
Well, if you have in serious situations, humor is what keeps human beings alive. So that's it's so important. It's not real otherwise. If everybody's just really serious all the time.
I'm sorry, do you have a plan to go along with that grenade?
Yes, I do.
For me, the Drake character is so interesting because it wasn't the rugged, you know, the romance novel hero who he falls and you hear, I'm okay, you know, that kind of thing. It was like, damn it, that hurt. Well, I guess I'm not going that way.
And that's a decision you guys have made from the beginning, which is, what kind of universe is this? Is it a universe where there's real pain? You hit someone, it hurts. If you don't make that choice and there's no consequences, then the audience isn't going to get invested in the characters because there's no stakes. Nothing's going to happen to them, then who cares?
But in terms of the humor, because of our camaraderie, and I mean, I'm the biggest goof here, I know that, but there are times... But I think you're right. I mean, sometimes, especially in the ADR, and if we just layer this thing with quip after quip after quip, it's going to become really old fast. Yeah. It's like, all right, wise ass, keep moving.
It's situational humor. It's between the characters. That's what works the best, as opposed to jokes.
Yeah. And it comes out of the relationship with the characters have with each other.
Yeah, and it can be something as simple as Richard adding in a God damn it, you know.
Sully, kick her out and shut the door. We're safer in here.
Just wait a goddamn minute. Hear her out.
Because it's become this signature line that Sullivan does, but that was something that he brought, that he's not necessarily using that to be funny, but the humor came out of the characters that, you know, we embodied, and then it just, through the rehearsals and the actual working on the stage together, it just kind of, the humor...
It's a huge part of the cast.
It became natural, you know what I mean?
That everybody that we were hiring...
But I'm not used to that. I'm used to the environment where everyone storms off to their trailer and, you know, there's big fights everywhere. And in this environment, I've kind of got two personalities now on a set. I've got the one where I'm working on Uncharted, where I'm actually having fun. And then there's the personality I have to have where everyone's being very serious.
Chloe Fraser.
On this, it's walking ears. You say, you think, you can be relaxed, you can have fun, you can play.
Can't do this without you, Drake.
The hell are you, Steve? How about Flynn?
Flynn always had that little element of sarcastic humor, which I really enjoyed, because he's a likable chap, Flynn. And I remember calling you a tired old sack of shit, and then we started filming.
No,
remember that? What was your full character's name?
Victor Sullivan.
Victor Sullivan, right. So I would go, Victor goddamn Sullivan! So we were doing callbacks to the goddamn thing, too.
Yeah. I hear that laugh in my sleep.
Because he's right there.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I enjoy playing the humor.
No. I just mean just the very end of it, as you're going to make the move on the end of the line, and he stops you.
So one of the things that's different about what we do is we actually have a fully fledged director on this project, which is pretty good.
We do?
We actually do. It's right there.
And not just any director.
And not just any director.
Not half-fledged.
Jordan Hunt, the award-winning.
That's right, the award-winning
Legendary voice director.
Of stage and film and television.
And he's written a book or two.
And a book or two.
Jordan, what's it like to work with me?
Let's go around and ask everyone that one question, shall we?
But the reason I think that I'm here is because Amy and I had worked together doing ADR for, how many video games did we do?
A bunch.
A bunch of video games.
Yeah, all the way back to '96.
And it was her idea that doing this form now needed a director with ADR experience and a director with
camera experience.
Cameras, 4 cameras, television, and theater. And I think the biggest of those was theater. And I think it had to do with her desire to do something that had this reality edge, that had this humor edge, that had a basic something to say, and that's how I'm lucky enough to be here.
Well, look, and I'm a firm believer that what you want is to gather people around you to interpret what you're doing. If you think that you've got it all buttoned up and that you can write it, direct it, and produce it, and your precious work is then done and dusted, you're not going to do very good work. The whole point is to bring people in that then interpret and revise and change it, and you have to have enough humility to know that it needs it, and enough confidence to know when to draw the line. I mean, that's right. I mean, that's the balancing act.
Interesting.
And I think that our medium is immature enough in a lot of ways that there's still a lot of people that, just kind of wing it, or they don't bring in people to necessarily then challenge or interpret the work. And we have enough to pay attention to on set, and we're worrying about how it's going to interact with the game, and whether we're going to get our cameras in, and whether we can deal with certain limitations in our game engine that we can't give the actors the time, nor do we have the experience to give the actors the time that you do. And in my mind, it's also just a gift to the actors to say, here's somebody who's only focused on you and what you need in your performance.
I have a question I wanted to ask you about directing this, because we've been in scenes where you're like, okay, you're coming in here, but then, and you're giving us those specifics we need, and Josh, for example, the animation will come and say, no, they can't come in that way because we have, and you have to switch on the fly and go, okay, well, how is that challenge of coming in, having something said, this is what we're going to do, and then someone going, no, that won't work because there's actually a cliff there, and you're like, well, you're okay, and you think on the fly quite a bit.
Well, I think that has to do a lot with the many years of four-camera television, and you've got 15 writers and 5 producers, and everybody's got a new idea, to say nothing of the stars and the thing. And I think it was Jim Burroughs who said to me, always have an answer. And whether it's good or not, have the answer. And then when people are trying to work out your answer, you'll figure out whether it's going to work yourself or not. Yeah.
I think what's great about working with Gordon is what we call in the industry an actor's director. And that you will come on and you give us the basic movements, but you really let everybody find the scene for themselves. You're not controlling everything. You're letting us all find it. And that's what's so wonderful about this whole ensemble process that we're all involved in.
Confidence that you're not going to let us look stupid.
Yeah, because you might think that you can slip something by or maybe get and Gordon's eyes in the back of his head will be like, no, it's not gonna work. It's not gonna work.
Thanks, Gordon.
You done?
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I think one of your hardest jobs is just wrangling us.
Dealing with you.
And maybe me, but literally just we can be having fun and just playing, and at some point he's like, all right, and he's able to rein it in and then get the performance that he wants.
Yeah.
I've worked with you for 13 years. I've never seen you get angry. I've never seen you lose your temper.
I'm having too much fun.
I know, and that's the thing.
I'm stealing money out there and getting away with it.
PlayStation